listening to a group of children from Africa whose parents have died from war.
We are here live talking to people about World War II. How do you think African Americans were treated during World War II?
Probably not very good.
And there you have it, folks. Good evening here. This is Michael Lennox, head anchor extraordinaire, speaking on Channel 11, or Young News, where the young ones watch it for Mr. Young. Our top story tonight is breaking news on African Americans during World War II. African Americans' response to the outbreak of war was neither for it or against it. African American leaders supported fighting World War II on the two fronts: victory over our enemies at home and victory over our enemies on the battlefield abroad, otherwise known as the WWII campaign. One African American newspaper wrote, "Our war is not against Hitler in Europe, but against Hitler in America." African Americans felt separate and discriminated from the rest of the United States. Sometimes it seemed to them that they weren't part of America. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, one Southern sharecropper told his landlord, "Captain, I hear the Japs alone declared war on you white folks." On the home front, African Americans contribute significantly to the war industry, but white workers resented that competition for jobs, sometimes resulting in violence. Discrimination also plagued the more than 1 million African Americans in the armed forces. Military policy stated that white officers had to command African American units to soldiers. One leader said, "Leadership is not embedded in the Negro race yet, and to try to make commissioned officers to lead men into battle. Colored men is only to work a disaster to both." In training camps, mess halls, movie houses, and recreational facilities, we're all segregated, General George Marshall saw it. This way, that desegregation would destroy American spirit and morale, established by the American people through custom and habit. "Ever since my husband went to the army, it's so cold, I have to live on the street. Come on, Jimmy, let's go." "Coming, Mom." We're here live talking to people about World War II. What do you have to say about this?
We're back. As a result of African Americans moving from the south to the north, white workers had to compete with the African Americans for jobs and even housing, sometimes even resulting of violence in 1943. In the cities of Los Angeles, New York, and Detroit, riots broke out. The workers' riot took place in Detroit. 25 African Americans and 9 white died in the riot. That happened as African American families tried to move into a new federal housing project. One African American woman from Detroit observed, "They aren't no noise anymore. Everything now is yours." However, despite the continued discrimination, African Americans made a lot of progress in the civil rights during the war. For example, in 1941, a march of 100,000 African Americans on Washington, D.C. to protest prejudice against their workers appeared to be the right. As a result of this rioting march, President Roosevelt issued Executive Order 8802, which banned discrimination in government, organized job training programs, and the federal business spirit companies. The order also set up the Fair Employment Protective Commission (FEPC). This ensured equal employment for African Americans and minorities in war industries. In amended result of this action were limited African Americans had to give their job to GIs. When they returned from the war, still they expressed prepared for future change. The United States Legislature set new rules for civil rights, public honor over the killing of 6 million Jews during the Holocaust forced many people to rethink their own racial views and politics.
Want to be as cool as this guy? Join the Army today. We are here live talking to people about World War II. What do you have to say about this?
Today with us, we have Richard Davis, an African American that lived in Chicago, Illinois before joining the Army after the attack on Pearl Harbor. He knows firsthand how it is to be an African American soldier under a white commanding officer. We are just going to ask him a few questions on what it was like to be an African American during World War II and how he was treated. Thank you for joining us. It is a pleasure to have you on the show.
Great, thank you for having me.
Why did you decide to become a soldier during World War II?
I decided to join the Army because I love this country and I want to defend it to the best of my abilities. Even if some people treat me as though I am not an American and not part of this country.
Your commanding Army officer was white, and in one of our earlier stories it was reported that some officers weren't fair to their soldiers. Was your commanding officer one of those officers?
No, my commanding officer was great, and he treated us well, and seemed very grateful that we had chosen to join the Army. We respected him, and in return, he respected us.
When you were away at war, did you fear for your family's lives?
No, my family didn't get involved in working in the city. All of my family members worked on our family farm. We barely made the ends meet, but I knew that they were very safe.
One last question. How were you treated after you returned to the United States from serving in the war?
Most people treated me with respect, but there were some people who were very rude and inconsiderate, and they asked me why I even wanted to join the Army. And I told them that God put me here for a reason, and that reason was to serve the Army. And if that's what He put me for, then that's what I'm going to do. And if that's what I'm going to do for this country, then that is how I'm going to help this world.